Hello everybody, today I'm going to talk about jobs and project management in Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. In Business Central, you can perform common project management tasks such as configuring a job and scheduling a resource, as well as providing the information needed to manage budgets and monitor progress. You can track machine and employee hours on the project by using timesheets. As a project manager, you have a good overview not only of individual jobs, but also of the allocation of employees, machinery, and other resources being used in all projects. Jobs are a way for you to schedule the usage of your company's resources and to keep track of the various costs associated with the resources on a specific project. Jobs involve the consumption of employee hours, machine hours, inventory items, and other types of usage that you may want to track as a job progresses. Now I'm going to do an overview of the Jobs module in Business Central. I've logged into the application as a project manager. Within Business Central, each user can have a different role depending on what you would like to see within the system when you first log in. The roles also relate to certain levels of security. So, I'm a project manager, and that means I get to look at upcoming invoices and works in process. I have a list of customer reports and notifications. Across the top, I'm able to access things like a job journal, resource journal, timesheets, and other areas that are relevant to me as a project manager. Let's get started. I'm going to click on Jobs, and here I see a list of the open jobs in the system. I'll go to Reports because I'd like to get an overview of what's going on right now in various jobs. First, I'm going to look at cost, and then I'll look at price. Cost is the internal cost that my company is incurring relative to the job. Price is the external price that I'm going to charge the customer for my work. So let's check out our costs. Here I'm able to see various jobs. According to the work breakdown structure, I can see my actual total cost with subtotals and my budgeted total cost. So if you're setting up a brand new job, you would enter a job number and description. You'd pick a customer. So this is going to be a Datum Corporation, and then indicate the address of the work and possibly a contact. The status begins with the status of planning. So if you're in an industry that requires a lot of bids and proposals and you have a bid coming up, the first thing you do is create a job for it and set the job to a status of planning so that you can do detailed line level estimates. Once you've completed your estimating process, you will change the status to quote and then you'll issue your proposal. Once that proposal is accepted, you would change this job to a status of order and begin managing against that very same estimate that you created in the beginning. You can use the Jobs module for estimating and also for actual work, and it's all seamless by line level estimating. The project tasks and work packages can be presented by what we call the job task lines. The job task lines are an unlimited list of rows that you can structure however you see fit. For example, if you've got a very detailed breakdown of a 2-year job, you could have hundreds of lines. But if you've got a 1-month job, you might set it up with just 1 or 2 lines and you may not even do any indenting. In our demo, we have a reasonably small job. The job task lines are where we set up the overall work breakdown structure, and then I can go to one of these lines and drill down to what's called the job planning lines. This is where we do our detailed line level estimating, much like Excel or any other system. Here I can call out the exact resources or types of resources that I'm going to use, the items, products, or inventory, and I can also indicate various GL items, which would be other miscellaneous fees that are not represented by an item or resource. If I want to see a combination of views, I can click the job analysis report, and this allows me to pick what columns I'd like to see. So this is configurable for each user. Now in this case, I'm looking at the contract price that I've budgeted to charge the customer, and my contract cost, which is what I estimated that I'll have to spend. Alongside that, I have my scheduled cost, which is what I'm internally managing, and then I have my usage, which are my actuals to date. So we've got a nice summary report available here. Now let's create one new job. There are two ways this can be done. You can use an existing job template to create the new job, or simply start a new project. If you opt to use an existing job, it's best to select a previous job similar to the one you're currently setting up. Under Actions, select Create New Job, then select Yes to create a new job from the existing one. Then add the description and select the customer. You can then choose which job to use as your template and select which tasks to associate with the job. You have the option of picking individual tasks or a range of tasks. When you're done here, you can click Finish and the new job will be created. Okay, let's see how I can report my time against the tasks performed in the job. I'm going to be charging some of my time against this job, and so I'll show you an example of that. As a project manager, I am also the person who approves timesheets, and so I'll show you both the submitting and the approval of time. Timesheets in Dynamics 365 handle time registration in weekly increments of 7 days. You use them to track the time used on jobs, and you can use them to record simple resource time registration. Before you use timesheets, you must specify how you want them to be set up and configured. Timesheet works on resources, so if I go into resources, and I'm going to pretend to be Linda Huber today. So if I go into Linda Huber's card, I can see here, use timesheet. So that resource uses timesheets. I'm going to check that off, and then I'm going to have to say who is the timesheet owner and the timesheet approver. I'm actually going to approve myself, so I just put myself as the user and as the owner and the approver. There is an approval process for the timesheets. You fill them out and then you have to submit them for approval, and once they are approved, they get posted. So this is how you get things going. Now we'll go down to the timesheets area, and I'll highlight this timesheet and make my time entry. So I will choose the Datum Corporation job, and then I also indicate which task I was working on, and then I say that I did 8 hours Monday, 8 hours Tuesday, and maybe 8 hours on Wednesday as well. We can not only track time against jobs or times for meetings, but we can also track absences. So I took the day off on Thursday and again on Friday. So now I've filled out my timesheet for the week and I'm going to submit it. Now you're going to see that the status is submitted, and I submitted 40 hours. Again, since I happen to be a project manager, I'm going to have the ability to also approve my own time. And so I'll go back to my role center and click Manage, Timesheet, Manager Timesheets. Here I'll find that submitted timesheet, and then I have the option to approve it or reject it. If I reject it, the original submitter can go in, reopen it, change it, and submit it again. In this case, I will simply approve it, and now it's listed as approved. You'll notice also that I do not see the time associated with the days off, because in my particular case, I'm only concerned with the job-related time because I'm a project manager. Now, from an hour standpoint, I have processed the timesheets. The timesheets have been submitted and approved. From a financial standpoint, there may be some other processes that take place either on a weekly or monthly basis before job cost is officially reviewed and allocated to the jobs. During the project, job costs from resource usage, materials, and job-related purchases can accumulate. As the job progresses, these transactions get posted to the job journal. It is important that all costs get recorded in the job journal before you invoice the customer. So now I'm going to go to the job journal and suggest lines from the timesheets. This means I want to pull in all of the approved time and allocate it to the jobs. Dynamics 365 can set up your job journal for you automatically. When you click the Suggested Lines option at the top of the screen, the approved timesheet entries associated with various job tasks will be imported into the job journal. Click Post in order to post the journal lines. Managing project supplies of items, services, and expenses is an integral and critical aspect of the execution of all jobs. You can use inventory quantities or make job-specific purchases using purchase orders or purchase invoices. For example, a new conference room installation job requires a new table. You create a purchase invoice to buy a new table and record the job that it will be used on. If the purchase process does not require that the physical transaction be recorded separately, then a purchase may be processed in the Job GL journal window. Let's post a new purchase invoice for a new chair delivery. Open Purchase Invoices and click New. Select the vendor and enter the posting date and vendor invoice number. In Lines, choose Type Item and select item 1968-S and then add in the location, quantity, and price. Select proper job and job task. And in the end, post this purchase invoice. Finally, we can invoice the customer for the job in question. You can invoice the whole job from the Job Task Lines page or only invoice selected billable lines from the Planning Lines page. Invoicing can be done after the job is finished or at certain intervals during the job's progress based on an invoicing schedule. You can create an invoice for a job or for one or more job tasks for a customer when either the work to be invoiced is complete or the date for the invoicing based on an invoicing schedule has been reached. From the Project Manager dashboard, select Jobs from the top left corner of the screen. Next, click Process, and then choose Create Job Sales Invoice from the drop-down menu. Click OK to complete the invoice creation. Now we'll post this sales invoice. Select Process again, followed by Sales Invoice / Credit Memos. Next, click Open Sales Invoice / Credit Memos. From here, you can select individual lines or post all of the tasks listed. Either option will result in the creation and posting of an invoice for your customer. Now I will open the sales invoice and I will post it. So this was our agenda for today, and I hope this gives you a good idea of how you can use this module in Business Central. Thank you for your time.